Bonjour mon petit chauffeur, Amber here, and today I just kind of wanted to sit down and do something different from my usual, you know, reading vlog, reading wrap up, unboxing. I'm trying to produce different content. There's so much bad going on in the world right now, so today I just kind of wanted to sit down and just talk about some things that I love. I wanted to do this video for a while actually, but I'm the queen of procrastination and have a list of videos that I want to do, but will they ever see the light of day? God only knows. Anywho, today I kind of wanted to sit down and talk about some books that I truly, deeply, passionately love. Books that I ride or die for. I talk about them frequently in various videos, but I kind of wanted to make a list down and have a structured list, so you know everyone will see where I stand. And I mean, also this is a good time to do this because I have recently received an influx of new subscribers. Hello, how are you? Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing for whatever reason you chose to do it. I hope you stick around. I will say, one, if you have recently subscribed to diversify your subscription box, I hope you are aware that it doesn't count if you're not actively engaging with the content you're watching. That's not just for me, that's just for any other diverse booktuber you're watching or YouTube creator you are subscribing to. Anywho, like I just said though, because there are a bunch of new people, I figured now is the best time to go over this list so you can get to know me, see where I stand on certain books, and we can all have it solidly in our minds what my favorite books are, what books I will go hard for and do frequently. Let me stop talking. I've already been talking for almost 4 minutes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10. I have 10. Okay, that's a good number. If you're not new around here, you should actually know what all of these books already are. I will give you a few minutes, write them down, and then let me know. Write down your guesses, and then let me know at the end how many you got right. Books are constantly being added to this list, but this is the... What are you doing? Not sure what I was saying, but I think I was saying something along the lines of this is like the core of... I don't know. Anyway, so let's start this list off. The first book on this list goes with my shirt. This is from Fake Rate. That is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. I first read this book, I think, in 2000. Actually, I have a whole bookstagram. I could probably tell you when I read this book. Actually, if anything, it'd be on my main account because I read it the first time before I made bookstagram. I first read the book in January of 2016. Yeah, so like the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. Honestly, haven't shut up about it. If you don't know, The Wrath and the Dawn is a retelling of 1001 Nights. Actually, if I talk through the synopses of all of these books, we're going to be here all day, so I'm just going to leave the link below. But it's a retelling of 1001 Nights, and from the moment I like started reading the book, from the first page, I was like instantly drawn in. I love Shazi so much as a character. I know people have issues with her seemingly going back and forth with her feelings, but I relate. I just think she's just this strong character. I just love her so much. And don't get me started on Khalid. When I finally met Renee, please hold. When I finally met Renee in last year, last October. That was like the first thing I said to her, was that I was in love with him. The Wrath in the Dawn was the picture from that I have of The Wrath in the Dawn. This picture from 2016, back when I still posted book pictures on my main account, was my Bookstagram profile picture until last year. What else is there to say? I made Renee a giant Shazi candle. That's my thing. As soon as I love a book or an author and I know I'm going to meet said author, the first thing I think is, okay, I have to make them a candle. So that's the surefire way to know if I really love your book or you as a person, is if there's a candle. I didn't put the candle on Etsy yet. I should. I don't know why I wouldn't. I also really like the way it smells. I don't know what else there is to say. I love the story so much. I'm currently reading the webtoon for The Wrath in the Dawn. I love a retelling. If you're new, that's something important that you should note. I love retellings. I am a sucker for retelling. If you're not new, I'm sorry that you have to hear me say this all the time. I just love the characters. I love the way Renee writes. The way her worlds are so beautiful and lush, and just like written so vividly, and just is romantically the right word, even though she can write a romance. I love The Wrath in the Dawn, and like I will fight anyone who has a bad word to say about it. I don't care. I don't care about your opinion. Isn't valid. The storytelling, I love the storytelling aspect. I love the way that Shazi and Khalid's relationship develops. I love him a lot. I loved the sequel also. A lot of people tend to not like the sequel, but I did. I loved it. I love Renee's books. I haven't read a Renee Attia book yet that I didn't love, so I've talked about this book for 7 minutes. So next is a whole series, but I'm just gonna talk about the first book, and it's Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, which is the first in the Witchlands series. The Witchland series is my favorite series that's currently still going on. Top favorite series. It's on my list of top favorite series of all time. I'm not really going to describe this book too much because I'm not very good at actually describing the book. Like I said, the link to Goodreads will be below, but I love this series. Is so chef's kiss. 1, Susan Dennard is world building is possibly unmatched. The way she writes her characters are all so complex and real and flawed, and just I love them all so much. I just want the best for them. Adwin, he just deserves something. He deserves to be happy, and will you please just let him be happy just one time, just for like a minute. I love the characters, but specifically the way she writes like the women in her books, and how none of them are really truly pitted against each other. I love the magic system. I love how like authentically diverse the book seems to be. Sometimes diversity in a book, in a world written by a white author, seems like forced and like just trying to fit a quota, but I feel like Susan's is authentic, and like she realizes that in any world there are different types of people living different types of lives, so fantasy or reality. Honestly, she's one of my favorite authors because I am currently reading, well, not currently, I started the her first series, the something, I don't know what the series is called, but it's like the Something Strange and Deadly. Also so good. I ordered I had to order the second and third one because I wanted the complete set of the original covers. Book 3 came before book 2, but it's fine. But yes, I love the Witchlands. The series gets progressively better. Each book is... Witch Shadow comes out next year. It's Isolde's book, and I'm not ready for it. I just love that, like, one, I love that each book, a different character is like the focus of the book, but I'm still so concerned about what's like all the interacting cogs in, I don't know the phrase, but all the interworking pieces in this whole giant puzzle that is the series. Read the Witchlands. Not enough people are reading these books. Also, Suze is great. Next. First, I should have said this at the beginning. These aren't in any particular order. I just wrote them down as I thought of them. Next is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. I have not shut up about this book since I read it last April, I want to say. I think I started it in March. Last spring. A whole year I have been ranting and raving and obsessed with this book, this world. I have 4 We Hunt the Flame candles. I'm working on a 5th. Hafsa kind of wrecked my life a little bit. Another one that I just love all of the characters so much, the whole Zumra. I just want what's best for them. I just want them to be happy. But I know I can't have nice things. I love Zafira. Also, I'm realizing all of my favorites, like not all, a lot of my favorite characters, main characters, are archers, wield bows, bow and arrows. Good for them. I want to take it up. I don't remember what I was saying. Altair is quite possibly one of my favorite characters in the history of ever. I love him so much. He serves me strong Finnick Odair vibes, and we'll get to that momentarily. Just Dean is the most precious cinnamon roll, sweet baby. Another book where the world is just so beautifully written and just vibrant and fragrant. Also, Hafsa is so talented. I don't remember a time in my life before this book existed. And We Free the Stars comes out in January, and I'm not ready, 1, to read the book, 2, to be hurt by the book, but 3, to be out of the world. A duology, Hafsa? A duology? I mean, I guess I respect it. I'd rather a duology than drag out a series just to have more books, you know? There's not much to say about We Hunt the Flame. I just, it's so good. I don't know what the point of this video is. It's just me just rambling about it's so good. The book kind of, aside from the opening blurbs, opening lines of each chapter of each Zafira and Nasir's opening chapters, like people lived because she killed, people died because he lived. Book was also pitched as, was it Lord of the Rings? meets The Hunger Games, set in like a world inspired by ancient Arabia. And you had me at Hunger Games, and honestly I love the Hunger Games vibes that I picked up in this book. I don't know about Lord of the Rings. I haven't read the books. I haven't seen the movies in a really long time, but I definitely picked up Hunger Games-esque vibes, and I'm here for it. Speaking of which, oh hey, my favorite series of all time, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, which should come as no surprise to anyone. I mean, first and foremost, I have a Hunger Games tattoo. Like, hello, this is my most recent one. I read the series 10 times as of November, to brief anyone new. I reread the books every November. I really started doing this because the movies were coming out in November, so I would reread the series to brush up before a new movie came out, and then I just kept doing it because it just became a tradition, and I love the book so much. So we're approaching the 11th reread soon, or the 11th read soon. What is there to say that hasn't already been said about The Hunger Games? I've always just, it doesn't get old, first of all. Like I just said, I've read it 10 times and it never gets old. I'm always just so caught up in the series. I mean, also now it's maybe a little too real right now. I've been saying more frequently than I'd like, I love The Hunger Games. I love reading The Hunger Games. I never wanted to live The Hunger Games, yet here we are. I think that's part of what I love so much. Like, you can, like, there's a bit of reality in the book itself. It's this like far-fetched dystopian, but there's so much reality in it. You know, we love taking down corrupt government. I love Katniss. I love Finnick Odair with my whole heart. No surprise to anyone. Love of my life. #1 fictional husband. Did I just say Khalid was? Oh, well, Finnick existed first. I have a tribute to my mans here, my sweet boy. I couldn't get a Hunger Games tattoo without honoring Finnick in some way. Someone should. Someone should. We respect, love, and respect Finnick Odair in this house. I have mentioned, like I mentioned, if I love a book, there will be candles. I have 2 Hunger Games candles on my shop. District 12, because we love our girl on fire, and one a sugar cube, because like I mentioned, we love and respect Finnick Odair in this house, and those are 2 of my favorite candles. Actually, I've made a Blood Witch candle because I was planning to give it to Suze at BookCon. I did not go to BookCon. Not this year, last year. This year was canceled. Since I didn't go, because my mom got sick and we were stuck in Boston for a week, I just have it. I haven't put it on the shop. I plan to eventually. If I plan to put it on the shop, I like to give the author their candle first. Is that weird? Perhaps. Anywho, back to The Hunger Games. It's honestly just such a perfect series to me. Catching Fire is my favorite of the trilogy. I feel like that's important information to get out there. I like the Quarter Quell. I like the environment they're in. I love that Finnick's in the story and such a vital part of the story. I love the start of the rebellion and the start of Katniss being the Mockingjay. There's not much to say. The Hunger Games is my favorite series. Never gets old. I watch the movies more frequently than I'd like to admit. I have, because I'm such trash for the series, I have 3 copies. I have 3 sets, that's what I'm trying to say, of the books. I have the original, I have the foil copy, that's the one I've been reading lately because my original ones are in storage. I have the, what is it, the 10th anniversary UK editions. I'm working on, I have a Spanish edition of Mockingjay, but that's for a video in particular. I'm working on getting the whole set. And I have 2 copies of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I haven't read it yet. I have the Waterstones exclusive edition. I haven't read it yet because I have other things to read, and also I'm nervous. But I do plan on doing a full, like, spoilery reading vlog when I get around to it. Let's move on from the Hunger Games. Next is Sweet Black Waves by Christina Perez, which is a Tristan and Isolde retelling that I have not shut up about since I read it. I picked the first book up just on a whim at BookCon when I went back in 2018, and I didn't expect to fall so in love with the books. There's so much going on. The second book, the first book, when I got to the end, destroyed me, and then book 2 didn't allow me to breathe. One time I was a wreck. I just, once again, I love a retelling, and that one was just, oh my god, it's so much is going on, and I loved Branwen and Tristan's relationship. I like the magic and the story. I seek and choke, that's what I'm gonna say. And book 3 comes out this year, the final book, and I'm not emotionally prepared because I wasn't emotionally prepared for book 2, and I couldn't read another book properly for a while because I couldn't stop thinking about the book. These books, after I finish reading them, like, haunt me. I will continue thinking about them so far down the line after reading them. Like, even before reading book 2, I was still thinking about the ending of book 1, to the point where, like, I'm like, I have to reread at least the last third of the book before I go into, I just need to, I don't know why, I love panic, apparently. I need to put myself through that again. Why? Don't know, especially because book 2 picked up right after, and then was a pain fest in and of itself, and I know book 3 is going to be also, but just in book 2 though, I did really start to love Branwen even more, because she got herself into some predicaments, but she's also like this independent, all right, like, this sucks, but there are more important things that I need to focus on. I have more responsibilities that are not just this. I don't need you. I don't need you. I need to fix this. I know what my role is, and I'm going to fill it. Like, I wish that she took care of herself a little more. And I think this is the first story where I think I've read where the main character is both protagonist and antagonist, because, like, the whole story is Branny fighting herself, basically, which I think is really cool, and I'm interested to see how that plays out in the end. My camera died. I have no idea what I was saying. Oh, I was talking about Sweet Black Waves. Tristan is getting on my nerves right now, but generally I love him. He's done some stupid things. Yes, they're not all his fault, but I think at, like, the root of him, he's a good person who just wants to do the right thing. But let's move on. So next is one that's a little bit controversial, and I almost don't want to say it. Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I have a Children of Blood and Bone tattoo. It's my Magi clan. So here's the thing. A lot of people, this is a book you either love or hate. It seems a lot of people I know aren't the biggest fans, and their complaints are absolutely valid, and I agree with most of them. But for me, my love of the book, I think, is, one, when I read it, I really needed it when I read it, and so it has that, it's more of like an emotional thing, the emotional, like, connection. Do you mind? It's just how, when I read it the first time, how it made me feel, you know? How it was one of the first times that I felt, one, that I could write a fantasy book, like, actually, with Black characters, as stupid as that sounds. And also, it's like one of the first times I was like, wow, characters that aren't pasty whites can have magic and can save the world. What? So it's like a strong, like, emotional connection. Like I said, when I read it, it was like definitely when I needed to read it. That being said, I do see the issues with the books, but like I don't really care that much. And I also love Tommy as a person, so deal with it. Moving on. The next one's more like just generally an author, not necessarily a book, and it's all of Tiffany D. Jackson's books. I will read anything this woman puts out. Tiffany D. Jackson is gold. Her writing is I read Allegedly the first time a couple years ago. 2016, 2007, maybe 2017. My intention was to read Allegedly and then go right into Monday's Not Coming. Maybe it was 2018. I don't know. And then go right into Monday's Not Coming. And that didn't happen because I got to the end of Allegedly and was shook. And I knew that Monday's Not Coming, if I read them back to back. So I read Monday's Not Coming in February. Finally. That book. That book. Read the book. Only when you're emotionally, make sure you're emotionally ready before you read it. And then in March or April, I read Let Me Hear a Rhyme, which is so different from her other two books, but still so good. And I appreciate like the lighter story, and it just felt really nice to not feel so heavy after reading one of her books. And like I said, I'll read anything that she releases. I am so stoked for Grown, which comes out later this year, and she announced 2 other future books that sound so good. Tiffany just has this way of weaving these stories and like weaving in these real life important topics without beating you in the face with it. Like, this is what this is about, this is what you should feel about it. And I just appreciate the way she crafts her stories. All right, next is one that's still kind of newish to me. Not really. I started the book last summer, put it down for months, and then picked it back up towards the end of last year. And I'm glad I waited, because I wouldn't want to, a theme now, wouldn't want to force myself to read it and then like take away from the way I enjoy the book. And that is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. One of the main reasons that I was hyped to read it was that one of my friends said that it reminded her of season 3 of Teen Wolf, and that is a season where we get the Oni and Kira, the Kitsune, and the Void Styles, no Kitsune. So I was like, okay, like, bet. That's my favorite season of Teen Wolf. Dylan O'Brien. Anywho, so when I went to start reading it, I had trouble getting into it, put it down like I said, and then finally picked it back up. And I'm so glad I did not give up on this book and this series, because I'm so in love with this series. I just read book 2 last month, and it gets progressively better. Book 3 just came out. I just ordered it because I need to know what happens next. And my friend Brittany from Melanin Eclectic warned me that it's going to hurt me. Book 3 is going to hurt, and I'm just fantastic. I love the characters. I love this journey that they're on. I also love like watching them grow as the stories continue, because especially Yumiko and Tatsumi, there's a lot of like growth with them, and I can't wait to see how the story concludes. And just I love the Japanese like mythology and folklore intertwined in the story. I love me a good fantasy. I love the magic in it. I love Yumiko balancing being kitsune and also being human, and like learning more about her humanity as the story goes along. I love Okame and Daisuke. I'm stressed. Okay, so let's speed this up. Next is The Book Thief. Let's switch it up a little bit. Next is not a fantasy. It's The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I love this book so much. I love the movie. I watch the movie frequently. It helps me go to sleep. I just love the message. I love the message of humanity, I guess, in the midst of all the darkness. I love a World War II historical fiction. I've read so many in my time. My babies, Liesel, Max, and Rudy deserve better. Rudy deserved better. I love Death as a narrator. I just love like Liesel's love of learning and words, and just I love that book. Okay, we're filming this last bit on the phone. Okay, so like I was saying, the last book on this list is another West African inspired fantasy, and it's Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. This was one of my favorite reads of last year. This book was more than I even expected it to be. I feel like if people who have issue with CBB but want another like YA African inspired fantasy, this is the one. This book took so many turns that I was not expecting. There were some turns I was expecting, but still loved to see how it played out, and still played out differently than I thought it would. Aura is I love her character. I love her friendships with Reject. I'm not really generally a fan of like the friends to lover trope. I'm more of an enemies to lover girl myself, even though I think I've written a few friends to whatever, doesn't matter. But I love their relationship. I'm very curious to see what happens with them. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. I love the fact that Aura has to work for the magic that she work for her magic. Like there's really like a purpose behind when she starts utilizing magic. I'm curious. I want to know more about her mother, and there's just so much. There's so many layers to this book that it's so wig snatched, literally. And I know, first of all, have you seen the cover for book 2? I think it was just released yesterday. I thought book 1 was one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. That cover for book 2 was absolutely stunning. I wasn't ready, and I know I'm not ready for what's about to happen in the book. When I finished reading book 1, I messaged Rena, or I posted about her or something, mentioned her or something, and she like warned me that book 2 is going to be even wilder than book 1, and I beg your pardon. So Kingdom of Souls is impeccable. There's so much that goes on, and I have a lot of questions. I love the way that magic is incorporated in the story. I like the way the Orisha are incorporated into the story. I'm really curious to see more of that storyline in book 2. Yeah, that's that. So that's that. Why'd I say it like that? So yes, those are 10 books / series that I ride or die for, that are right here in my heart, that are like my go-to. Let me know what some of yours are, or if any of mine are also on your list. Thank you for watching. This if you have. If you like this video, which I hope you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. I have a couple more similar videos that I'm planning to film in the near future, so make sure you subscribe so you know when those go up. All my places are down here. Follow me and I'll follow you back, and I'll see you very soon. What was that? I'll see you very soon.